Okay, so today's agenda is, so we have already discussed to create or update the records using the process builder, and then we'll see that users, how to create a user for the different customers, and then what are the different status of users. Okay, then let's see the queues and groups. If time permits, we'll see retailing profile. Okay, so now So here we have an object called student, right? You know that we have student object. Student object we have. So let's create an object called payment and a field on initial payment. Okay. Now here let me create an object called payment object. So I have created an object called payment. And then I'm going to create a field called relationship with the student, that's called a master detail relationship, because without a student you cannot have a card. Select the student object as a master. Then, so for each and every payment there will be some amount also, right? Paying amount also. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, let's create a field, currency field called amount. So this is always required, means without amount you should not create a slip, right? So then this is always required. Okay, so this is what I have done. Okay, now here on the student object I'm going to create a field called initial payment. This is not a required field. So now think you understand the requirement. Let's say whenever you are joining as a student, you may have to pay the fee, at least some amount. That's called initial payment. For that also you have to generate the slip, right? So whenever a new student is created in this database, and if he pays some amount like initial payment 5,000, 2,000, or something more than one rupee or something, then what I need to do is I need to create automatically the payment record with the student name, and this is the amount. Okay, so let's create. So to create a record you cannot use the workflow, so create action is there in the process builder only. So we know that when a student is created, we are saying, okay, so let's create a process builder on student. As you have already the record, right? There's approval process already there. It is on student. Both are active. What you can do is you can directly use this one. Clone it. Here it is saying that greater than 5,000 something. Okay, so then only it should go for approval. Okay, so then what you can do is, okay, let's go and create this new one instead of getting confusing. Okay, auto create payment on student join. Okay, then here is this. So select the object as student, and here we know that when the student record is created and there will be no criteria is required. Only criteria is if initial payment is greater than 0. Initial payment is greater than 0. Means if they are paying some amount. Now here we need to select create a record. Okay. Then here what I need to do is create payment. So here you can create parent record or child record or whatever the object record, you can create it. Here amount is required, whatever the fields are required those will be automatically populated. So here what you can say is field reference. Okay, so if you give currency and if you give some value, that will be static. For each and every payment record the same amount will be populated, but whatever the value has been given in the student record, that has to be populated here. So select or map it initial payment to the payment amount, and then the record should be related to the student, so here it should be student record. Okay, then payment name, what do you want to give is, so let's say initial payment. This is, you can give it as it is a text, you can write whatever you want. Okay, directly you can give student name also. Done. Save and then activate. Okay, done. Now so if you want to call another process builder, okay, then here you can select this one. Okay, I have activated, so it won't come now. Now let's create a student just cloning the record means creating new student. Here initial payment give like 2000 or something. With 2000 rupees, then it should be created as a initial payment. Okay, let's see, saved. So student record is created. Here, go to related records. Initial payment has been created. Okay, so this initial payment, if you want, you can see this. Okay, so with 2000 it has been created. Now if you change the initial payment, something 5000 something it is, it won't change, right? Because on creation of the student record only we have to create the payment, and in other cases we are not touching it, right? Now let's say if I want to update the record with initial payment, then what can I do? Okay, so in that case, go to the process builder, clone it. This is on create. Here change the process when the record is created and updated. Okay, save it. Condition is like this, and use the formula here. Means if it is new and initial payment is greater than 0. Okay, then only we have to create payment record. That is done. Next, add another criteria. This is for update. Okay, if initial payment is changed, okay, then initial payment does not equals to 0, right? Then only you have to update it, or let's say directly update it. Is changed true, then update the record. Now here you have to be very careful which record should be updated. So it should be payment record. Select the student record that started your process. Means if you want to update the same record, then you can select the first option. So here you have to update the child record, means related record. So select the second option, and here it will be like just type payments, payments double underscore R. Now here On one student, there might be lot of payments, but we need to update only initial payment, right? So update with criteria. So what is the criteria? Name, payment name should be initial payment. This is one condition. Now, what are the values we have to update? So payment amount should be updated with student initial payment. Any questions? Just see this. Okay. Whenever you want to update the record, you can select the same record or child or parent record also. Okay. And then here, let's say if you want to uh, update the parent record called university, then you can type university. That also will come. Okay. If you want to update the parent of university, then what you can do is university parent like this. And there might be some records. Okay, so you want or whatever you want, you can update. So here I am going to update the payment records wherever the initial payment is like this. Okay, and then here, so the initial payment I am going to update, and the payment record I am going to update the initial payment amount. Now let's say save it and activate. Go to the student. Let me update the initial payment. 8,000 something. Save it. Okay. Now on the child record of payment, it should be updated. Oh, where is our action? Oh, it is there. Initial payment is changed equals to true, then so might be initial. Word is different, might be. So that's why the criteria was not met. So we have updated that. Let's move. Okay. So this is how you can update the records. So when you are updating the child records, you can update the any number of records which is related to that specific parent. Let's say for one student, if you have 100 payments or something, then if you want to update at a time for 100 records also, you can do using the process builder. Okay, so if you observe the difference between workflow and process builder, using the workflow and using the field update of workflow, you can just update the same record field or its parent record field if it is in the master detail. Only those two cases. In other cases, it is not work. It doesn't work. Okay. So if you want to update the parent record or child record, not a field, I'm saying about record, then you should go for the process builder. Okay, if you want to create a record, also you have to go for process builder. Creating record, updating record, you should go for the process builder. Okay, so yesterday we have seen that how to submit a record for approval. Deleting of a record from the process builder is not allowed. Okay, so if you want to delete a record from the process builder automatically, then what you can do is you have to create a visual flow. We have flows, right? Calling flows, also one action is there, right? You have to create a flow which takes the id of any specified record, and in that flow you can delete the record. That flow you can call through the process builder, so it will be automatically deleted. That is different. Okay, I'll explain it later. Okay, so for now what we have done, we have submitted a record for approval automatically, and then we created a record and updated a record. Okay, so through the process builder, if you want, you can update same record also. Let's say when a student is created, simply let's say here in the same process builder, here, so if the initial payment is changed or something, what you need to do is you need to update the same record also, like student record. You have to update the balance, right? If initial payment is 10,000, then you have to deduct it from the total amount, right? So here what you can do is then select the same record. If you want to go for parent or child, second option. If you want to update the same record, then first option. Okay, choose. Then update the field called balance field. Then you have to use formula, right? This initial balance fee minus initial payment, right? So here formula. Here you have to build the formula. How you have to build the formula? So whatever the balance fee it was there, total fee minus student fee, actual student fee minus initial payment. Use this formula. You have to click on use this formula, otherwise it won't be captured. Now save it. Okay, and this also you have to update the same. Actual student fee out. Balance fee. Use the same formula. So here there will be different currency. Currency means the same type of data, right? So you can directly give 5,000 or something. The number you can give it. Field reference means if you want to get the field, I mean the value from different other field, then you can use the field reference. You have global constant. Global constant means if you want to use some null or something, then you can use the global constant. Okay, making default. And then formula. So here you can click on this and then select choose. Save it. Now here, if you go to the student, so what is the actual fee? 36,000. If initial payment is 4,000, then balance should be 36,000 minus 4,000. Where is the balance fee? Okay. So it should be updated here. Okay. Let's change this. So initial payment is 10,000. Then balance is 26,000. So this is how you can update the records and create the records. And if you want to update the same record or child record, you can do that. Okay. So try to update the parent record also. You can get it. There is no issue. The same way you have to set the values. Okay. So this is how you can perform the DML operations like create and update through the process builder. And next thing is user. So process builder is not yet completed. There are a lot of actions, okay, that will come one by one later once we are discussing the other concepts. Like let's say you have call apex, right? When we are discussing about the apex, how to create the class and invocable method, then we'll come to know that how to call the apex method from the process builder. And when we are discussing about the flows, then we'll learn how to call the flows from the process. How we will go. Okay, process builder will keep on coming till end of that, even quick actions, each and everything. Okay,
what are these outbound messages? How it can be used?
Outbound message means if you want to send some information to the external system. Let's say you have Salesforce as well as some Java or .NET system which is interacting with your application. Then if you want to send some information like I have this record which is updated some balance fee or something, then if you want to notify that system, you can use the outbound message. Okay, so mostly we cannot use the outbound message in our system because we have to create two systems. Okay, if possible I will let you know. Okay, so user. So as of now what you guys have done, you guys just created fields, objects, page layouts, record types, another. Okay, now as you have credentials like username and password, you are able to log into the Salesforce. Now you are able to create the records, update the records, and whatever you want you are doing. Then how can you provide the access to the customer? Let's say whatever the layout or whatever the fields you have created, that should be accessed by the customers, right? Then customer should be able to log in into the system. Okay, so for them you have to give username and password, right? How can you create a user for the customer? First, what is an user? An user is a person or organization who has valid credentials to log into the Salesforce. How can we create an user? Okay, so let's see how to create an user, then I'll explain what are the different status of user. Okay, so when you were signing up for the developer organization, you have given your username and then email ID, then others also you have given, right? The same way, go to setup of your application. There in quick find, just search for users. Okay, here you have users. In this users menu you have permission set groups, permission sets, profiles, public groups, queues, roles, user management settings, and users. Okay, as you are going to create a user, just click on user. Okay, new user. So this is also a record. User is also a record. In Salesforce, you can create a user, but you cannot delete an user. The same way, however, you are dealing with the records like student or payment. So those records can be created or deleted also, updated also. But if you create an user, it cannot be deleted. Okay? The user record cannot be deleted. If you want, you can update it. Okay? So let's create an user first. So for creating an user, what are the different fields required? Whatever it is, red color mark, those are very much required. So first name, last name. So last name is required, alias name, email, username. Okay. Then nickname. Here role. Role is not mandatory, but it shows like required. So as you wish, if you want to give or you can ignore it. Okay. Then user license is mandatory. Then profile is also mandatory. I'll explain one by one. First, let's say okay. So here you have to give the exact email ID. After that, you have to give username. So mostly what it takes is whatever the email ID you have given, the same email ID will be taken as the username. Okay, but this username is already used, so we can give different name. Okay, so what we can do is we can give different name, like, so as we know that we have the username called 12 SFDC training 12 at the rate of gmail.com. So these are the test users. For reminding clearly, I'm giving 1 to 1. You can give whatever it is. It should not be it is not it should not be like email, actual email or not. So that is up to you. You can give whatever the username you want, but it should be in the format of email. That's it. Okay. So here, and then here what you have, role, then license. This license I will explain. Take the Salesforce license, and then the profile you can. For now, let's take it as system administrator. Save. So once the record is created, what happens is you will receive an email. Okay, verify your account. Okay, so once you verify that account, it will ask you to set the password. However, you have created your developer organization. Change the password. So now we are able to log in into application using this user. So I have logged in with this user in separate browser. Okay, so you can identify now why I have logged in like this. Here, so we have created a user called SVSFDC training 121. Here you have users, and here this is the user whatever we have created. Okay, now here, so we are able to log it into the system with this user. So if you want to see who is the user logged in, just click on that and then test user one. Okay, now here, so whatever the accessibility is there, he is able to log in, and here there are different status. Freeze. Okay, you can freeze the user, you can active the user, inactive the user. Okay, what happens if you active or inactive or something? So for user, once you have created, user license is mandatory, right? The licenses are very much important. Means as the Salesforce is cloud based CRM application, you have to pay like per month per user. Okay, if you want this user to use our Salesforce, and you have to give the license, for that license you have to pay for every month. Okay, so there are different types of licenses: Salesforce license, charter license, community logins, community login license, and then different logins are there. I mean, different types of licenses are there. So for each and every license type, they have some specific amount. Okay, if you want to have high-end accessibility for user, then that is Salesforce license. This is called full type of license. Okay, so those licenses for the developer organization, they will be very less. If you want to see what are the licenses you have available for your organization, go to company information. Here you have different licenses. Salesforce license. How many you have? Two licenses are available. Two are used. So always there will be two for developer organization. One will be consumed for your user who has signed up for the developer organization. For their user, there will be one license will be used. Okay. So for now we have created another user. For him it is used. Okay. There are other like Salesforce platform, community login, and work.com. So different other licenses are there. So those licenses are available now. Okay, now here, as we know that, back, so he is a user. Okay, now what happens if you make inactive? We know that if you make it inactive means user is not applicable, I mean user is not active, then user will not be able to log in into the Salesforce. Let's see the things. Deactivate. Okay, save it. Okay, if you deactivate the user, then user will not be logged into the Salesforce, and if you see the licenses, license will be released, means user license is only one because we have deactivated the user. Now if you try to access with this user, you will be logged out. Okay, because this user is deactivated. Right, now here let's go and activate the user. Make it active. Now try to give the password and try to log in. He will be able to log in. Logged in. Okay, now what happens if you freeze, right? If you freeze the user, user will not be able to access any of the content in Salesforce. Okay, access whatever you want to. If you even if you try to access also, it won't be applicable. Let me refresh it. That will not out. Okay, but what happens is if you freeze it, then license will be with him only. License won't be released. Means that license cannot be used to another user. If you want, you can see this. See here, the license is not released, but user is not able to log in. That is the difference between deactivate and freeze. Active, inactive, freeze, unfreeze. Okay, so these are the four types of actions we have, four types of status we have on user. Okay, and then if you unfreeze the user,
If we deactivate that user, the license will be freezed or what?
license will be released. Means that license can be used to other user. If you freeze the user, license will not be released. License will be with the same user. Means temporarily you are blocking the user. Again you are going to unblock it. That's why license will be with him only. If you inactivate the user, then the license will be released. Okay, that's about this one. And here you have profile, license, and these are very much important. Let's see what is the next thing. Okay, then you have two different kind of things, queues and groups. Okay, okay, so let's say queue. What is a queue? A queue is a group of users to share the workload. Okay, and there is another group is also a group of users, okay, which is used to share the records. Okay, so if you want to understand queue and group, let's say first for each and every record, whatever the record you are going to do or you are going to add, so there will be thing called owner will be there. Okay, owner will be there, but for the child record which is participate in the master child relationship, there will be no owner because it is controlled by parent. Okay, now here owner will be there. Owner might be the owner will be any user, or queue also can be the owner. Okay, I'll give the explanation to you later. For now, write down